For the best. Oh yeah, thank you for that, Finn. All right, so the way that this game is gonna work is in a second we'll have Finn stop sharing the screen, and we're gonna make sure everyone is on gallery view. So if you are on your computer, there's a gallery view option and a speaker view button at the top right of the screen where those three dots were. If you're on your phone, you can swipe left on the screen and it'll take you to that gallery mode. We want to be able to see each other, see who's here tonight. And yeah, okay. So what we're gonna do is we are gonna play this game where you have to cover your camera with your thumb. Okay, so everyone's going to be covering their screen with their thumb. You don't have to do it just yet. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna ask a series of questions. If you align with the question, you will say yes by uncovering your camera. If you are a yes to the question, okay? If you're not aligned, then you're gonna keep your thumb on the camera as a no, all right? So an example, if me, Finn, and Sarah were playing and we were to cover up our cameras, let's go ahead and cover them up, directors. And if I was to say, uncover your camera if you love tacos, let's see what happens. Dang, you just found out that all three of us love tacos, all right? Follow up with us via Slack to find out what kind of tacos we love. All right, so we are gonna jump into this and we're just gonna play by practice. So let's give it a try, all right? So we are gonna cover up our cameras and we're gonna uncover pretty fast. So just stay in tune, stay in present. So go ahead and cover up your camera. And first thing, I want you to uncover your camera if you are located in Seattle. Ooh, welcome, Seattle folks, or the state of Washington, if that wasn't clear. All right, go and cover up your camera. I want you to uncover your camera if you're located in the state of California or the San Francisco Bay Area. Yes, what's up, Bay folks? Cool. Go ahead and cover up your camera. I want you to uncover your camera if you're located in the state of Oregon or even more specifically, Portland. Where are you at? Yeah. Awesome. Welcome, y'all. Thanks for being here tonight. Okay, cover up that camera. And I want to know if there's anyone here tonight. Uncover your camera if you're located outside of our chapter cities. Located outside of our chapter cities. Okay, okay, hold on, let me. Okay, yes. Okay, beautiful. All right. So from there, I want you to go and cover your camera, and I want you to uncover your camera if you are a volunteer. Uncover your camera if you're a volunteer. Ooh, ooh, okay, volunteers. Thank you for your people power. Welcome, welcome. All right, cover up those cameras. I want you to uncover your camera if you're one of our latest and greatest up to us coaches in this next year. Yeah, welcome, y'all. Some of our powerhouses. Okay, great. Cover up your camera. And I want you to uncover your camera if you are in up to us Vista. Where are our Vistas? Vistas. All right, maybe no Vista's present this evening. That's all right. Shout out to Bria. Okay, perfect. Go ahead and cover up your camera. And I want you to uncover your camera if you are a Skate Like a Girl staff member currently. Staff member. Yeah. Beautiful. Thank y'all for coming out. Perfect. Cover up those cameras. All right, next up, I want to know if there's any Skate Like a Girl TRC members, totally rad cohort members. Are they here? Totally rad cohort. Okay, those are some folks that have some superpowers that maybe can't volunteer on the ground, but have a skill that they can bring to the organization. So none here tonight. They're busy using their superpowers elsewhere. All right, cover up those cameras. And I want to know, uncover your camera if you have been skating for less than a year. Less than a year. Where you at? Yeah. Yes. Amazing. Y'all are my heroes, my inspo. Perfect. Cover up those cameras and uncover if you've been skating more than 5 years. Okay, all right, interesting. We got a mix. Beautiful. All right, cover up those cameras. And I want you to uncover your camera if you love boba tea. Where are boba fans at? Yes, okay. Lots of boba fans. Perfect. All right, covered up those cameras. I want to know, last question, uncover your camera if you love tacos. Any taco fans out there? Okay, just a couple of us. No big deal. All right, perfect. I got our last one. Put your thumb on that camera. Get that camera nice and greasy like. Last question coming in. All right. Imagine you just won a contest where you could visit one of three places. One is an island resort. Two is a private cabin in the forest. And three is a ski resort with all the snow and pow pow your heart desires. Which one are you choosing? Uncover if you're looking forward to a sandy beach and sun. Ooh, okay, we're looking for some sun. Okay, I love it. Perfect. All right, cover up those cameras. Uncover your cameras if you would go to a private cabin in the forest, that shady, tree-filled dream. Okay. Okay, beautiful. All right, cover up those cameras and uncover if you would go with that ski resort with that snow. We just have not had enough of it, you know? Beautiful. All right. Give yourselves a nice round of applause for playing. We did it. Feel free to wipe down your camera if it's greasy like mine. Beautiful. All right, so we got to know each other a little bit. Again, there's not a lot of opportunities for us to hang out org-wide, so this is one of them. I know Zoom is probably not our favorite, but thank you for still being here and getting ready to get what there is out of our AllySk8. So in a second, I'm gonna just, introduce who is here tonight and who's gonna be facilitating. I already introduced, you know who I am. Tonight, we also have our other two chapter directors, kind of a rare occasion, which is kind of cool. We got Sarah up in Portland. We got Finn over up in Washington, and we've got also shout out to Finn on tech this evening as well. So we're all going to be kind of co-facilitating together, and Finn's going to be on the ones and twos, aka the tech tonight. So there is a special first time ever edition of this workshop happening tonight. And what we're doing is not only are we going to be doing an internal squad AllySk8 workshop, but we're also going to do sort of a skate facilitation intro because a lot of the soft skills required in being able to hold up or uphold safe spaces is really important for us to get to talk through and kind of dissect and kind of dig deep as a team. So those are the two things we're going to be jumping into. And with that, I want to share a little bit about like what's the value of it. So the main thing about this is that this is the conversation around allyship and inclusivity. And it's hugely tied to the work that we do here at Skate Like a Girl. And also a lot of what you're going to learn tonight is going to be things that you can take with you in daily life as well, in other areas of your life. Okay, so with that, I would like to share the definition of allyship or how we think about allyship. So allyship, if we take it to our next slide, my wonderful techie Finn, allyship is a lifelong process of building relationships based on trust, consistency, and accountability. It's through these relationships that we truly show up for those that have otherwise felt unwelcome or not included in skateboarding or other aspects of our lives. So a key part of our mission at Skate Like a Girl is to create more inclusive communities via skateboarding. The other piece is thinking about social justice. Social justice is key to everything we do at Skate Like a Girl, from programs to just our overall philosophy, even internal. There's nothing that us chapter directors or board members wouldn't ask y'all to try on, or even our participants. So we fully take on the topics that we are going to be talking about tonight in every level of this organization. So some of you are familiar with some of our programs, maybe some of you are a little bit newer. So some of the ways that we serve our mission is through our Women Enter Trans sessions. It's through Wheels of Fortune. Put a W in the chat if you've ever been. Capital Dubs in the chat if you've ever been. Nobody? Oh, okay, a couple participants. Love it. Yes, a good time. We also serve the community through free skate lessons, gear giveaways, community meetups, shop hangs, and other just community-oriented programming and events, including this workshop. Like I said, we've done this externally with other entities like Vans, Woodward, Deluxe Distribution here in the Bay. We've also here in the Bay done it for the Oakland Roots Pro Soccer team, which was pretty awesome and cool. So with that, they become a little bit more introductory and more general. So what was really exciting for us directors is to do this version where we do it for our internal squad, y'all. And since y'all will be helping uphold and run and facilitate our programs, we want to make sure that y'all are on the same page of how we model allyship and inclusivity. So that's what tonight's workshop is really about. And I'm going to invite you all to really think about this concept of social justice, and a reminder that some of us might be newer to this idea of social justice. Others might have sort of a lot of ideas, have done a lot of self-education, et cetera, et cetera. So since we're all members of Skate Like a Girl community, I want to acknowledge that many of us share the identities that we actively work to create space for in our programs. So many of y'all may be very knowledgeable of these concepts simply because you share the same identities of the groups that we serve, and how you are forced to have to navigate the world based on the intersection of your identities. So regardless of y'all's relationship to social justice, I do ask that whatever notions you have, put them aside tonight, because we're going to engage with social justice in a little bit different way. Okay, a little bit different than we usually expect when we think of social justice. We're not going to be talking about terminology and definitions or unpacking power imbalances. Instead, we're going to be working through our own mindsets and our approaches in like real life scenarios. And the goal of that is to really get to kind of use our own life experience and kind of step into being experts of our own lives and pull from our experience so that we can continue to build a solid foundation and add new information, insight, and potentially have actions that we can take in order to continue to be examples of being inclusive skaters, and rewriting toxic parts of skateboarding culture and continuing to step into what does it look like for us to be allies as individuals. Okay. So one way to think about like how are we going to actually do this, and thinking about like the approach of our mindset, I feel like a little analogy is helpful. So a lot of times when we're teaching skateboarding, we often will get new skaters that get stuck, and all of a sudden they're feeling like, this trick is too hard, or they're too old and I'm too old to try that. And it's valid, right? The things that come up. Skateboarding is scary, it can be challenging. And the truth is, in those moments, that mental attitude is standing more in the way of those participants' progress than their actual ability on the skateboard at that time. So with that, and like that, it's important that we give it a try. We think about really meeting people where they're at, right? So same thing with social justice. It's about trying. Doesn't mean we're going to get it right. And it doesn't mean we're not going to mess up, but it's about trying something rather than not doing anything about it because of our fears of how we're going to look to others, or etc., whatever else might come up for y'all. Okay. So the impact can be that we get in our own ways of our own progress, right? And like our larger commitments to our community or others, etc. Okay. So with that, it's really important that we allow ourselves to mess up, right? When we mess up, that's our opportunity to like learn and grow. So I hope that y'all will give yourself the space to like practice stepping into what does allyship look like for y'all? And because it's not about being right, it's about figuring it out for ourselves and discovering what is our role inside of this work. Okay. Okay. So with that being said, we're not just going to throw you into the deep end and expect you to carry the responsibility without a solid foundation to build on. The goal of this workshop today is just like skateboarding. We want to cultivate and practice meeting people where they're at, calling people in, not calling people out. So y'all see here a brief overview of the topics we're going to cover tonight. These are some areas that we want to talk a little bit about and give y'all some practice, keyword here, so that when you potentially experience these scenarios in real life, you feel more prepared and ready to take them on powerfully. All right, by a show of thumbs, does that sound good? Is everybody ready to jump into it? Okay, cool. I'm seeing thumbs. I'm seeing 2 thumbs. I like that. Okay. Now, before we jump into it, we are going to create some community agreements for tonight, because community agreements are going to be a helpful way to kind of set the tone, the intention, and the culture for the space tonight. So Finn, will you take us into that next beautiful slide of ours? There it is. Okay, perfect. So, like I said, we're going to be pretty jam-packed, full of gold knowledge nuggets tonight. So, if we don't get to your question, please bring them to Slack. Contact us directly. We'd love to have follow-up conversation around this or around anything that comes up tonight. The other piece is that we ask that y'all meet each other where we're at. And then the other part is if you're taking up a lot of space, consider maybe stepping back and letting other people step up a little bit more, and vice versa. If you're somebody that steps back a lot in a space, then consider maybe practicing stepping up in the space. The other piece is just coming with an open mind, trying things on, take what works for you tonight, leave what doesn't, okay? Be curious. A real ancient one, raise that virtual hand. So we can keep an eye on if there is anything burning that you're like, this must get answered, raise that virtual hand, okay? The other one is practice self-care. It's been a long day. It's 6:23 p.m. Maybe you're in a different time zone, but it's probably been a long day either way. So take care of yourself, stand up, stretch, have some water, have some snacks nearby. Do what you got to do to like generate being present with us tonight and in the conversation. And then the other thing is phones. Phones, ideally they can wait. If you could just put them on do not disturb or silence. If you do need to answer them, you can just go off screen, take care of business. And then the last one is let's have some fun. It's important that we don't be afraid to be the biggest dork in the room. A lot of you have heard us talk about that regularly, but also just not being afraid to say the wrong thing or ask the wrong question. There's not a lot of space in the world where we can go and ask questions about things that maybe are outside of our experience. So yeah, don't be afraid to have some fun and show up as you are. Okay. If you have any community agreements that you want to add that are going to have you get the most out of tonight's workshop, I ask that you throw it in the chat now. Otherwise, I'm going to ask that you sign the air, that you're just going to agree to practice taking those on tonight. Cool. And if any others come up, feel free to DM Finn in the chat if there's anything coming up for you that we want to throw in, and we can always revisit. All right, cool. We are going to mosey on, so I'm going to pass it off to my good friend Sarah to take us through our first section. Take it away, Sarah.
Beautiful. Thank you, Ashley, for an amazing introduction. What's up, y'all? For those of you who may have joined a little late and missed that first slide, my name is Sarah. I use she, they pronouns. I'm the Portland chapter director, and I'm also currently on occupied Cowlitz and Clackamas land. So stoked to see everyone here at our first AllySk8 of 2023. So yeah, just building on what Ashley shared, we're stoked to work with you all to build and really further what allyship can look like in our action sports community and in Skate Like a Girl in general. I really believe that if we're going to have a truly equitable skateboarding and action sports culture in general, it'll happen when all of us step up, not when we solely rely on folks who are marginalized to speak out. So in this first section, we're going to start by sharing our personal definitions of two words that you've all heard before. If you haven't, they are on the screen, welcoming and inclusive. So we're going to do a chat storm. And if you're not familiar with a chat storm, we are all going to write our answers. And then when I say go, everyone's going to hit send at the same time. But we're going to do a chat storm of the meaning of these two words, starting with welcoming. So if everybody could jot down their definition of the word welcoming in the chat, don't hit send yet. I'm going to give you all about 30 seconds and then I will say send. Everybody will send at the same time. All right. I'll let y'all start typing. I want to say like 10 more seconds to go. All right, everybody send. Oh my gosh, so many. I love it. All right, welcoming. Let's see, being friendly. Yes. Feeling of belonging in a space. Amazing. Easily approachable. Making others feel comfortable, being open. Yep. Let's see. reaching out to ensure that everyone feels accepted and comfortable in a new settings. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of like comfortability, being open, approachable, being inviting people to be their true self. Yeah, I love that. Allowing and encouraging folks to show up authentically as they are and where they're at life. Love that one. Making people feel comfortable, greet with kindness, feeling invited and wanted. Yeah, a lot of inviting, a lot of openness, a lot of encouraging people to be themselves. Yes, beautiful. Thank y'all. So we are going to do that again. I'm going to put another 30 seconds on the clock, but we're going to do it for the word inclusive. So 30 seconds on the clock. I'll let y'all start typing and then I will let you know when to send. About 10 seconds. All right, everybody send. Let me scroll up here. I love there's so many people here. Let's see, inclusive, celebrating everyone and giving them a seat at the table. Making sure everyone feels important and wanted. Yes, a space for everyone, regardless of who they are on the outside. Beautiful. Open to anyone, no matter gender, sex, or personality. Absolutely. Everyone, despite their differences, feels safe in the space amongst others to be their most authentic selves. I'm loving these. This is so good. Being mindful of the varied life experiences that we all have and taking it into consideration. Not leaving anyone singled out. Yeah, these are great. Authenticity. Yes, amazing. Thank you all for going on that journey with us. That is beautiful. Thank you all for sharing. So as allies, our goal is to create spaces that are not only welcoming, but are also inclusive. So that's acknowledging that just being welcoming is not enough. It's kind of like it's not just meeting somebody halfway, but it's really meeting them where they're at. It's like really going the extra mile to ensure someone feels a part of the group or space or program, or even at the skate park, even if you're not, with Skate Like a Girl, it's something you can really use in your everyday life. Inclusivity is also recognizing that you might hold more power in the space than others, especially as, our coaches or even just volunteers or anybody that's like kind of working on the Skate Like a Girl side or facilitating a program. I know that whenever I'm working at programs, if I'm like serving as a program manager or something, I try to remember that I hold power in that space. So if I see, a beginner skater or somebody who's new to the space come in, I always make sure to be approachable and not intimidating, and always strive to engage with folks in a meaningful way beyond just being like, oh, what's up? And then kind of going on my way. So to hammer this home, Ash, Finn, and I are going to act out a little scene. And while we do this, just think about which person is acting just welcoming and which one is acting both welcoming and inclusive. Just to set the stage first, I am a shy beginner youth skater at a community meetup. And then Ashley and Finn are going to be coaches at this meetup. All right, and scene.
Hey, what's up?
Oh, hey.
Hey, what's up? My name's Finn. My pronouns are they, them. Is this your first time at a meetup?
Yeah, I've never been here before.
Whoa, that's so great. I'm stoked that you're here. We're practicing pushing over here. Do you want to come practice with us?
Yeah, that sounds great. All right, and end scene. Thank you, Ashley and Finn, our beautiful acting experience there. Okay, if I could see some thumbs, can you see the difference? See some thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs to the side. I know it may seem obvious. Yes, I see a lot of thumbs up. Beautiful. So it may seem obvious, but Finn made me, the shy beginner skater, feel way more comfortable in that hypothetical space. They were welcoming and inclusive, and Ashley was friendly, but not necessarily inclusive, which if you've ever met Ash, you know that is not how they are in real life. So welcoming is just saying hi, being friendly, waving, and inclusive is really going that extra mile, you know, sharing your pronouns, asking, is this your first time here? Asking, hey, do you want to come skate with us? Really meeting that person where they're at and really bringing them into that space. Okay, well, thank you, everyone. I'm gonna move it on to our next section and I will pass it over to Finn.
All right, what up, y'all? Thank you so much. Cool. So if you are wondering exactly what it looks like to be inclusive when approaching others throughout programming, don't worry, we got you. We thought this all out. So we're gonna talk about what we call the gas model. So you can think of this model as a way to get conversations going, just like how gas gets your car going. It's all coming together. And I know that, like, personally, I have found this useful to this day. It's super helpful, especially in instances that can be a little more challenging than just like greeting a beginner skater. It's always helpful to have this to sort of fall back on. So the abbreviation of GAS is, as you can see on the screen, G is greet. So that part, pretty simple. Hi, my name is, I'll use myself as the example. My name is Finn. My pronouns are they, them, and I'm a volunteer with an organization called Skate Like a Girl. So what this does is it volunteers information first so that the person you're talking to feels like you have shared something with them, you've offered something up. Feels like you have offered something up, and that makes them a little bit more inclined to share. So once you've greeted, the next one is A, and that stands for ask questions. So this is going to be tailored a little bit based on the situation. A classic is what's your name, but we can do a what's your name, how long have you been skating, what are you working on, what's your goal for the day. Can kind of be depending on the type of conversation you're trying to create, but really the idea is getting into their world, getting to know them, lets them feel valued and helps them assess their needs. It's always it's like people have a pretty easy time talking about themselves as opposed to having to like try and start conversation, think about what to talk about. So as inclusive members of the community, it's really our job to create that, and asking questions is a really good way to start that. So you've asked the questions. The next letter is S, so that is sharing info. So again, that's going to depend on the type of situation, but for example, we could say like, this is the street plaza. Over here is a good spot for beginners practicing pushing and foundations. And over here is kind of where people are skating. It's a little bit more hectic. So, or if we're talking about WT, we can say, tonight's our WT session, which is a space for women and or trans skaters. Is that something you're interested in? Kind of using the sharing information for whatever is relevant. So if you're seeing that they maybe have some questions, they don't really know what's going on, being able to share that information. And yeah, also, especially with kids, like kids are really shy. Some kids are shy and need a lot of direction. So this works with kids and adults. But yeah, the information that you're going to share is going to depend on the situation. And the last S of GAS, a word that we all know has two S's in it, is same team. So same team is like, let me know if you want any tips, I'll be over here. It's really focused on working together versus it's like a working together, us versus the problem. So the idea is us really focusing on integration and not trying to be divisive. This is especially relevant when we're like maybe greeting folks who are not familiar with Skate Like a Girl, or are not going to be, or like didn't intentionally come to one of our events, whether that's a community meetup or they're like stumbling upon a summer camp or something. And it's also helpful for shy or clueless kids that will be kind of not really sure what's going on, and we can really get them on our team, make them feel like they are very included and stoked. So that's kind of the GAS model in theory. And now you guessed it, we have a little skit to demonstrate what the GAS model might look like IRL. So Ashley and I are going to demonstrate two scenarios to hammer this in. These are situations that you may find yourself in when you're running programs. These are based off of real world examples. It's happened to all of us. So for the first scenario, we're going to pretend that I'm running one of our women and or trans sessions, and I see someone looking around and I'm not sure if they identify as WT. I want to approach them and see if they're here for the program. So I am going to start. Okay, I said that in I form, but it's actually going to be opposite. Ashley's running WT session. I'm just a wanderer. I'm a wanderer for WT. Okay, scene. Ash, take it away, please.
Hey, what's up? My name's Ash. I'm an instructor with Skate Like a Girl. How is your evening going?
Hey, nice to meet you. It's going super well. I'm here for the skate session.
Okay, sick. So I don't know if you know, but tonight is actually our Women Enter Trans session. So this program, we open up the space for people who identify as women, trans, non-binary, and we create an exclusive space that feels safe for anyone with those identities to skate, build community, and yeah, that's what we're up to tonight. Is that something you're here for?
Yeah, actually, I've been following y'all forever and I finally made it out to a program.
Yes, I'm so excited you made it. Thanks for finally coming out. Okay, well, let me get you all signed up. Come with me.
Scene. Thank you, Ash. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Ash. Um, so as you can see, we want to be mindful, making sure that our WT sessions are do stay exclusive for women and or trans and non-binary gender expansive folks, but we also don't want to be making any assumptions. We don't want to be making judgments on how people identify. So using the GAS model is a really helpful way to make sure that we're clear about the expectations. We're making sure that folks know without ever putting people in a weird position to have to defend their identity, because that's definitely not what we are about. And yeah, offering them information, letting them self-determine whether our space is for them or not. So for the next scenario, we're going to pretend that we are at one of our community meetups. So you show up, you're getting started, setting everything up. You see a super gnarly advanced skater bro taking up a lot of space. There's a lot of beginners who come to your meetups and can often get intimidated by stuff like that. So we are going to go approach our gnarly skater and use the GAS model on them to incorporate them into our meetup. So here we are. Scenario number 2, community meetup. Ash, take it away.
Hey, what's up? My name's Ash. What's your name?
My name is Brad Chad.
Rad Chad. Hey, good to meet you. I feel like I've seen you here before. I just wanted to come over and say hi. I'm with Skate Like a Girl. We're with Skate Like a Girl, and we're doing a community meetup here for the next couple hours. It's all ages, all skill levels, everyone's welcome, and we're even doing a raffle later. I just wanted to stop by, say hi, introduce myself, and share what we're up to. Come on over to the table if you need anything, if you want to get in on this raffle. And I also just want to say thanks for sharing the space today.
Oh, yeah, for sure. You're welcome, I guess.
Oh, that's right. Also, we tend to get a lot of beginners, folks in a little bit newer to skateboarding for our meetups. So we're gonna be all over here using the flat ground and these banks over near our table that we were setting up. So if you can avoid skating in this section of the park, that would be amazing and super great so that we don't have any collisions. How's that sound to you?
Sure, yeah, that's cool.
Sweet. Thank you so much, Chad Brad, for sharing the park with us. And I'll be over at the table if you have any questions. We'll be here for like the next 2 hours. And come get a raffle ticket if you want.
Awesome. Yeah, it's Brad Chad, just to be clear.
Chad, thank you.
All right, scene. Cool. Thank you, Ash. So yeah, as you can see, instead of antagonizing the skater bro, using the same team, part of the GAS model to let them know kind of like how to split up the park, and give a solution that works for all of us. It's definitely like if you come at it with just like, hey, don't skate over here, they're like, meh, 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 meh. But when you're like, wow, thank you so much for sharing the park, they're like, wow, I'm incredible. I'm doing the Lord's work. So yeah, using that GAS model to like have that same team element is really important. And it's true, like they should still be able to skate there, but like finding something that works for both of us is super important. So yeah, that is it for the GAS model. When in doubt, feel your conversations with GAS. 2 S's. Okay, back to Sarah. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad Chad. All right. Thank you, Ben. I want y'all to remember that this is like all new information. Even if it's not new information, maybe in this format or in this training, it can feel new. And like Ashley said at the beginning, it's later in the evening. Some of us might be a little bit exhausted. That's okay. This is new. We're going to mess up. Things are going to happen at programs and our spaces where you will mess up. Maybe you snake someone or you bum a kid out. I've done it. Ash and Finn have done it. We've all done it. So as an organization, we need to work on not just giving each other feedback, but more importantly, receiving it. This is really important because the way that we respond or the way we learn from something and grow, in my opinion, is more important than just learning like the right responses or trying to find the right answer when we are receiving feedback. In life and work, you encounter all different types of people and new challenges, and we might not know the best way to interact. So being open and knowing how to receive that feedback will benefit you, and not just you, but the entire community as well. Again, none of us are masters at this. We're all working on it constantly. And I think it's cool that we get to all kind of work on it together in this training. So with that being said, in this next activity, we're going to unpack what our initial reactions are to feedback so that we can better respond and maintain our integrity and really live the values that we talked about at the beginning of this training, the values you probably all know and love to be of Skate Like a Girl. So grab your handy pen and paper or open your notes document, whatever you prefer, and we are going to do a little writing exercise. While y'all are doing that, I will just share, this is mostly for your own reflection. You won't be required to share what you write directly with the group, but more so just kind of using it as a jumping off point. So I'm going to give y'all like 5 or 10 seconds. And just see a thumbs up once you've grabbed your materials. See some thumbs. Beautiful. All right, well, last y'all are finishing up there. I'll go ahead and just introduce our prompt. It's also on the screen there. But I want you to think for a moment, a time that you were given a piece of feedback from someone you admire or respect, like a friend or your boss or a coworker, that you didn't necessarily agree with. Maybe you questioned it, or maybe you got defensive. Did you go into a shame spiral? Did you shut down? I want you to write about how you responded to that situation, what that situation was, and kind of how that went for you. So feel free to turn off your cameras. Go ahead and jot it down in your notes. I'm going to give everyone 3 minutes to write. We've got about 1 minute left. All right, I'm going to give it about 10 more seconds if y'all want to start finishing up your last thoughts and jotting them down. All right, come on back. Let's see. Everybody back on camera. Beautiful. All right, thank you for doing that writing exercise. I know that it may have been frustrating to even like think about that situation again. The point of the exercise is so that we can recognize our initial go-to responses and ensure that we don't act on them impulsively when they come up in the future. So instead, we can recognize our patterns, we can change our behavior and be more open to learning and growing in the future. And really the first step of that is identifying what those impulses are in the first place. So again, I'm not a master of this. Ashley and Finn, they're not masters of this either. I know even in my own life, in my personal relationships, I have so many go-to responses that I often act upon and regret. It's a constant thing, just learning and unlearning what those things are. It's completely normal and we all do it. So in a second, we're going to send y'all into breakout rooms with one other person. So 2 people in each room. And with your group, we encourage you to be vulnerable with each other and have one person share their scenario first, work together to come up with a way that they could have responded that maybe would have been more productive or helpful in that moment. And then once you kind of chat, get some ideas, you can move on to the next person. And yeah. And here we do have like not everyone is required to share. When there are just 2 people, I would ask that you both do just really be vulnerable with each other. It might be that you don't know the other person, and that's totally okay. That's a whole part of it, is acknowledging that this is a common experience. Everybody goes through this at some point, and I really encourage y'all to get vulnerable and to share with each other. So with that being said, you're going to have 6 minutes in your group, and Finn, Brad, Chad, go ahead and send them out. See y'all in 6 minutes.
Did I do it?
Yes. Everyone looks good. Everyone's got a buddy.
Yep.
Interesting. Did you pause the recording?
Almost. Mhm. All right, looks like we got about 20 seconds until breakout rooms are officially closed.
It's like The Voice. Get your votes in.
Right now, 5, 4, 3. All right, there's everybody. Beautiful. Amazing. Okay, thanks y'all. I hope that that went well for everybody. Thank you for getting vulnerable with each other, for sharing your experiences. I would love to hear from at least one group what strategies you came up with. And if you go ahead and raise your virtual hand down at the little reactions button, you'll see a virtual hand raised there. And I'd love to hear from someone. Anybody? I might call on someone. I don't know. There we go, Sean.
Hands.
Sweet. Sean, go ahead.
Hi. So in our group, kind of one of the themes that we ended up talking about towards the end was defensiveness. In both of our stories, we kind of felt like a big part of the initial reaction was getting defensive. And kind of what we talked about was defensiveness is a tough spot because it's like a brain's reaction for a reason. You know, maybe it's someone is pointing something out that actually isn't true or that you truly don't agree with. So there's that part where you want to refute that and you want to set things straight. But at the same time, it can sometimes kind of double down or make you feel that way about things that you are in the wrong about. So when you feel your brain getting defensive, it's really important to kind of step back and find that balance. It's like, okay, like picking your battles is maybe a good analogy for that, where it's like, okay, like what do I really need to feel is important and focus in on, and what things should I take a step back and either give myself time to process or give myself space for the other person to maybe educate me and maybe give me a new perspective on it. So
Yes, thank you so much for sharing, Sean. 100%. Definitely can relate to that. That's something that I'm always working on too. It's really easy to kind of fall into that, like you said, just like defensiveness of like, but wait, no, I don't agree with this. But I find that when you kind of set that aside, at least in the moment, it gives you a chance to open yourself up to receiving maybe some really good feedback. And then also makes the other person more receptive to kind of showing up into that conversation. All right, let's see. Do we have anybody else that was just like really needing to share? It's totally fine. I'd love to hear it. If not, no worries. Okay. If anything shows up, feel free to pop it in the chat. But thank you all for participating in that exercise. Thanks for sharing back. And with that, we're going to move on to our next section, consent with Ashley.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Sarah. And thank y'all again, piggybacking, big thank you for just like being vulnerable and sharing with maybe somebody brand new. And it's not always easy, but appreciate it. All right, so next section, we are going to be talking about consent. Now, consent is a word we often only hear in the context of sexual violence. In reality, consent is a practice that transcends this narrow context, and it's something that is a part of pretty much every interaction, or at least interactions on a daily basis for all of us in some way, shape, or form with other human beings. So the definition of consent is permission for something to happen or agreement to do something. All right. So at Scalar Girl, it is vital that we practice consent to ensure all participants feel safe, heard, feel welcomed, and included. When a new participant comes into our space, we can't assume that we know what their needs are. So simply put, consent is about asking folks before we offer. One kind of analogy I like to think about too, especially for our young people in our spaces, is we also like help facilitate young people having buy-in and understanding that their body is their own, right? So it's really important that from a young age that we support and facilitate young people really getting that it's their body, their choice, right? Like truly starting in our spaces. And then also for people that come into our spaces, never knowing what people are showing up with, different traumas or experiences. So really important that we take this on and practice this. Also think about in your daily life and at work or in other spaces with friends, family, we have opportunities to practice consent with other humans all the time, regularly. So we're going to look at that as we go and be thinking about that in all the different realms of your world. Like, how can you be practicing consent? Okay. So tonight we're going to talk about how we can best practice consent with all human beings we interact with. So before we get started, you know, we like to kind of start stewing. So we're going to do a quick chat storm. So get your typing fingers ready. And we're going to take 30 seconds to write in the chat. Don't hit send until I say so, pretty please. But I want to know, what comes to mind when you think of the word consent? What comes to mind when you think of the word consent? Go ahead and start typing, and I will tell you when to hit that button. Cool, 10 more seconds. All right, go and hit send, y'all. Let's see what is coming up for us. Yes, okay, allowing other Other people, other person, allowing the other person the space to state what they want. Yes. Asking for, respecting boundaries, physical and emotional. So good, Lucia. Thank you. Agreeing to something. Yep. Giving and receiving permission to do something. Communication. Yes, Faith. Let's see. Consent. If it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. I love that. Agreeing with another about specifics of what can and will happen in a space. Okay. Asking permission. Yes. All right. Okay. Verbal permission. I like that. Very specific, Brittany. I appreciate that. Giving the choice to allow or deny something. Yes. We're going to talk about what it's like to be with when somebody denies something too, because that really takes a practice. Cool. So I'm seeing a lot of permission, allowing, creating space for others to share where they're at or what they need. Cool. All right. Next chat storm. Get those fingers ready. The next thing I would like to know is question number 2. What are actions you take in your role at Skate Like a Girl that you should ask consent for? Interacting with coworkers, other team members, maybe people you manage, depending on your role, participants, maybe families coming to our spaces, maybe random folks in public spaces that we're sharing space with. Think about that. What are ways or actions where we can practice listening and asking for consent? All right, so I'm putting 30 seconds on. Go ahead and start typing. I'll tell you when to hit send. Go and type it up. 30 seconds on the clock. All right, team, go and hit send. Let's see it. Where can we be practicing listening? Yes. Okay. So asking someone if it's okay to give them a high five. Yes. Any physical touch. I'm seeing physical touch, spotting, asking consent to have a conversation on a certain topic. Absolutely. Or asking, hey, can I vent to you about my day? I'm sure we have a lot of people in our lives that like to just vent without consent. Okay, permission, again, seeing more permission for touching somebody or giving advice. High fives, fist bumps, supporting while teaching. Yes. Okay, Sean also said photo video. So consent, if people are hyped and they want to get clips or photos, whether it's Skate Like a Girl or participant to participant, making sure we're putting that in the space and asking for consent from folks on all levels of team members as well as participants. Asking if somebody's open to tips. So trick tips, yep. Helping someone put on gear. That's a huge one. Another one, especially if you have a young person and they're maybe moving slower than we'd like for time's sake. Really important that we still allow young people to consent to us supporting them with pads, right? If someone's able to cover a shift, yeah, let's not assume that. Let's make sure we get consent for that. Yep, instructing, is comfortable. Oh, asking people if they're comfortable in the role that is assigned to them. I like that, Katie. Seeing more like spotting, asking for help. Yes. Okay, cool. All right, this team, okay, we're on fire. We are ready. Okay, cool. So thank you all for your sharing. Thank you for going there with us. So now what we're going to do is a little demo because, that's what we like to do. And a lot of us have on our resume acting experience. You probably didn't know that, but now you know. So we're going to do a little demo to understand what giving clear consent looks like, but also sounds like. So Finn in a second is going to stop sharing the screen and then we're going to get a little interactive. So Sarah and I are going to act out 4 scenarios. And after each one, we're going to ask y'all to let us know if consent was practiced and if consent was given. Was consent practiced and was consent given? All right. And I just want to remind y'all, don't be afraid of getting it wrong. We know We know the caliber that we're working with here, but also if y'all nailed every single one, we're probably not doing a good job of coming up with examples. So please don't be afraid to say the wrong thing, okay? So we'll do thumbs up if consent was given or practiced. In between means I'm really not sure. And this means consent was not practiced and was not given, all right? All right, so first scenario. Sarah, you ready?
I'm ready. I'm gonna unmute myself.
All right, cool. So me and Sarah hanging out, and you'll kind of get it from here. All right, action. Hey Sarah, I'm gonna teach you how to put on a mask because I see you're struggling. So there's two parts right over here. So you got the fabric part, you got the little loops on the side. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take the mask, you're gonna hold on to it, you're gonna loop one part, and then you're gonna put it across your face, and then loop the other ear like this. Okay. End scene. Okay, so we want to know, was consent given? Show us those thumbs. Yeah, that was a big hell no. I didn't even wait for Sarah to speak. Okay, was consent practiced? Yeah, big hell no too. Literally, I did not wait for anything, and Sarah literally said nothing. Okay, cool. Easy peasy, we're moving on. All right, so scene number 2. Let's see. I feel like it's kind of self-explanatory. So, action. Hey Sarah, I was wondering actually if you want a trick tip on your ollies. I was checking out your Instagram, weirdly enough, and see you're learning to skate.
No, I'm good.
Okay, cool. Got it. Well, I'm just a DM away if you change your mind. And scene. A little creepy, but we're gonna see. Was consent given? Was consent given?
Oh, she said no. So yeah, no.
Exactly. So Sarah was a straight up clear no. So consent was not given. Perfect. And did I practice consent? Yeah, you got it, y'all. I did. I was like, nope. Okay, cool. I got that. And I'll be over here if you change your mind. Cool. All right, moving along. We're going to start bumping up the challenge a bit. So keep those eyes and ears peeled or open, whatever they say. Okay, next one. Sarah, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, action.
So I'm thinking of trying to drop in on this quarter pipe.
Yo, that's so cool. Do you want some help with that?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, so you're gonna go and put your arms out like this. You want to think about knees bent, and you want to really just like,
That's pretty scary.
no, you're good. So you just got to commit. I think you should just try again. Make sure you do it like, yeah. So like lean forward, bend your knees, and maybe try to send it. Just like, don't think about it. End scene. All right. Was consent given?
She said she wanted to help.
Remember, so you can either yeah, not sure, or down. Was consent given? Ooh, okay, before I give you the answer, I also want to know what you think. Did I practice consent?
Kind of know.
Yes, I love when we get in that gray area. So, exactly, this one is tricky, y'all. So, we use this example to show that even if consent is clearly practiced and given initially, consent is an ongoing process. So, one thing to keep an eye on are nonverbal cues, right? Like body language. After Sarah tried the trick or tried the weird grunty movement that I did, she was no longer confident and didn't really say much, and her body language really changed. So, if someone doesn't pick up, or if we're not people that normally are watching nonverbal cues, or we're just not sure, we got to start tapping into that, especially when it comes to instruction. Okay, so something to think about is a reminder is that when in doubt, like check in, right? So a yes today may not be a yes tomorrow or in an hour or in 5 minutes based on what we're working on. So watching out for those nonverbal cues, and if people start to go silent on us or see if we start to feel not sure, when in doubt, get a clear yes or a clear no. And if it's not a clear yes, assume it's a clear no. Okay, thank you for struggling with that one a little bit. The gray area is where we really want to go. Okay, so we're moving on to our last one. Sarah, you ready for this one?
So ready.
I knew it. I could see it in your face. All right, action. Hey, can I film you, Sarah?
Yeah.
Click. You guys got that new sound effect with the update? Okay, cool. Bad joke. End scene. All right. Was consent given? I love it. Okay, I'm seeing some thumbs up. I'm seeing some thumbs to the side.
Mm,
Okay, was consent practiced by me? Ooh.
I feel
Okay,
like
I know, right? Tricky. Okay, so here's the deal. Consent was given. However, we want to be aware of power dynamics at play. When we ask with physical motions or gestures that may make people feel obligated to say yes, so hands up for like a hug or a high five, or like, how are you going to say no to this face being like, can I take a photo of you? Right? Well, you should. You should say no to this face if you want. So pointing the camera at somebody and asking is already creating a weird imbalance and is going to often make it that much harder to say no if we're not actually interested in taking a photo. So try to avoid doing those actions before you get clear consent. Thumbs up if that makes sense. Yes, thumbs down if you're like, I have no idea what just happened in that skit. Okay, cool. Awesome. Okay. So, and now, guess what? You're going to get the opportunity to practice asking for consent, practicing listening for consent, and acting accordingly to whatever the answer is that we get from folks. Okay. So, just like polishing any skill, like skateboarding, practice is key. This is going to help us prepare us for situations when we're in skate like a girl spaces or even in other areas of our life. So, in a moment, we're going to send y'all into breakout groups. You will be put into a breakout group with probably one other person, and you both will have about 4 minutes of practice asking for consent and listening for consent. Person A will ask a total of 5 questions. Okay. Person B will answer each of those questions with some variation of yes, no, or maybe. The person asking questions, practice being with the answer and see what comes up for you. After 5 questions are asked and answered, make sure y'all switch roles. So person B will then ask 5 questions, and person A will have a chance to answer with some variation of yes, no, maybe, shoulder shrug, body language cue, whatever it is. And after 4 minutes, we'll bring y'all back and we'll ask a couple folks how it went and what came up. Cool. So before we send you into those, me and Sarah will do a quick demo just to make it super clear. Sarah, you ready?
So ready.
Okay, so to figure out who is A and B, we're going to determine it based on whoever's birthday is closest to today's date. My birthday is December 11th. When's yours, Sarah?
December 30th.
Ooh, okay, so Sarah's A, person A. I'm going to be B. All right, Sarah, go ahead and ask me 3 questions.
All right. Yo, Ash, do you want to skate with me after work sometime?
Maybe.
Okay, sounds good. Just let me know. Do you want to add your pronouns to your name tag?
Oh, yeah, please. Thanks for reminding me.
Yeah, here's Sharpie. Is it okay if I take a video of you?
No.
Okay.
Cool. And then ideally, we're going to switch. I'm going to then ask Sarah 3 questions, and then Sarah's going to have a chance to answer. All right. On the screen here are some that we've provided for you for questions you can propose or pose, I should say, and then also answers. And I really encourage y'all to have some fun with those gray area answers, the maybes, the shrugs, the silence, and really y'all practice being with those. So let's take a minute here you can either write down 5 of these questions and answers, or you can take a screenshot of this, or whatever fancy way, take a photo with your phone, however. But I'm going to put a minute on the clock and figure out how you are going to capture 5 questions to ask your partner, your future partner. All right, y'all. That is about a minute. So what we're gonna do is in a second send you into those breakout rooms, and we're gonna ideally have about 2 people in each. You might have 3 people, so just make sure you take some time to rotate. Maybe ask 3 questions, 3 to 5, anywhere in there, and be with those answers, pretty please. All right, Finn, are we ready to send our friends? All right.
Yes.
See y'all in a little bit.
Very cool.
All right. Looks like everybody's back. Thank y'all for trying that on. So what I want to do, well, hopefully that was like informative and y'all like got to really be with each other's answers, especially some no's, some maybes, some shoulder shrugs, and reminder that this is something that takes practice. So what I'd love to do is invite 1 to 2 people to come off mute and share what was that like? What came up for you? Right? Whether you were somebody that was asking the question or giving the answers. So I'm looking for 1 to 2 brave souls. Share back how that went. What came up for you? Asking a question and giving answers. So I'm looking for 1 to 2 brave souls. Share back how that what came up for you.
I can share, Ashley.
Okay, cool. Who? I can't see who that is.
Okay,
Who's
cool. I can't see who that is. Who is that?
Ash.
I think we're getting some feedback from someone. If you're not talking, can you mute, please?
Okay. Was that Ash? Ash, did you want to share? I think I saw Ash's hand and then Katie. We'll go Ash and then Katie.
It was just like, it's like kind of like, I don't know, like for me, like when people just like ask me for consent anyways, I'm just already awkward just because like, I don't know, I'm like really, really bad at just like talking to people at first anyways. And also it's like hard to like just take the answer. Like if you're asking for consent, it's like kind of hard. You feel like, I don't know, like for me, like, well, what did I do wrong?
Yeah, totally. Ash, it was breaking up a little bit, so I'm gonna see if I heard you correctly. It sounded like while you were doing that, it was like initially like feeling maybe just socially awkward with people in general. And so that was coming up a bit and just like figuring out how to like be with people or even ask people a question. And then on top of that, getting like a no, we can be quick to think it make it mean that like we did something wrong. Um, if you out there in Zoom land also that resonates with you, can you put a W in the chat? I know I definitely feel that. Like when somebody says no, like I'm quick to be like, dang, what did I do wrong? Right? And something I want to point to, Ash, I appreciate you sharing and remembering that it's actually a gift when people feel comfortable enough to practice their boundaries. So practicing unlearning, making it mean that we did something wrong, but actually that we're a safe enough space for people to really be a no. So thank you for sharing that, Ash. Katie, do you want to share what came up for you, how that went?
Yeah, I think it was just an observation for me. Initially, when you were saying about venting and how, simple things like that, just considering that when you're in that space and you need to vent, but you want to make sure they're asking consent. And I think it goes down to even like taking a picture or a video, because you're like, oh, this is public space, but not really considering if somebody does or does not want you to either vent to them or take a video of them.
Yeah. No, it's super real. And again, I feel like it brings it back to that whole idea of like we make it mean something about us or them versus like just people not wanting a video taken or their picture, right? And we're so quick to like want to know the why or get deeper rather than be with it. So I love that. And I appreciate y'all sharing. And again, it is something that takes practice. I know still to this day, when I ask for a hug, I literally will hold my hands behind my back because I'm so excited to see somebody that I want to hug. And that definitely has an impact. So again, we've just opened the can of worms and now it's our chance to start practicing that, right? And it doesn't mean getting it right initially, but practice is what makes permanent. Cool. For the sake of time, we're going to continue to mosey, y'all. I want to wrap up the consent section before we take a mini couple minute break to stretch your legs, get a little water. So to kind of like kind of tie up our consent section, I want to give you this journal prompt. Okay. So to wrap it up, I'd like you to write down in your own words or in your own like notes or document or whatever, write it down wherever. This is for you. And I will probably ask one person to share. But the prompt is, your 8-year-old nephew just heard you say the word consent when talking with other adults, and after they pull you aside to ask you what the word means. What do you explain, or how do you explain in 2 minutes or in 2 sentences or less, what is consent to your 8-year-old nephew? So I'm going to put a minute on the clock and give it your best effort. Feel free to go off video, and when you've written that that prompt, you feel free to come back on video. Got about 15 more seconds. Doesn't have to be perfect, just some general ideas. All right, team, go and wrap up your final thoughts. Come back on video when you're ready. And I would love to hear from one person, one brave soul out there. What would you, how would you explain that to an 8-year-old? Again, feel free to raise that virtual hand. Y'all got this. I saw what you were, okay, there's the hands. I'm not sure who, oh, and then we lost a hand. Lucy, go for it.
Okay, I think I did a thumbs up in the chat by mistake. Okay, I wrote down allowing people the option to say no without making them feel bad.
That's beautiful. I think that's huge. Thank you for sharing that. Thanks for being that brave soul. Again, for the sake of time, I'm going to keep us moseying, but I do love to offer, and I think somebody put it in the chat earlier in one of our storms, remembering that if it's not a clear yes, it's a clear no, or consider it a clear no. So thank y'all for going there and diving deep and continuing to exercise the muscle of consent. Okay, so what we're going to do is talk a little bit about these AllySk8 takeaways before we take a mini break, and then finish up with sort of philosophy around skate facilitation and skate like a girl spaces. So AllySk8, we talked about being welcoming and inclusive. Inside of that, the best way we can practice that is just using that gas model, just gassing it up. And the second piece is receiving feedback and being able to know what our default responses are. What are those initial triggers? And being able to shift and operate from our place of a larger commitment and not our reaction. So learning how to respond, not react. And then the last piece that we just went through is consent, right? So really practicing giving it but also practice listening for it. And also, I think for all of us, like being a powerful no if we want to be a no. So that's it for our AllySk8, y'all. We are going to take a mini break. I'm going to give us 3 minutes. You can stretch your legs. You can do some handstands. You can go get some water, some snacks. You can hang out here. You can turn your camera off, whatever you want to do. But we're going to come back at 3:36 because I feel like it's about to turn, or 3. I said 3:36. I'm going to say it again, 7:36. So come back at 7:36. And feel free to stay on if you have any questions or you want to talk through any of the things so far. All right, y'all. See you in a couple. I'll play some gentle jams for y'all.
Gasolina. Gentle
Is that a
Jam.
gentle jam?
I mean, it's my gentle jam. I listen to it every night as I fall asleep. For
Certified gentle jam.
We gotta start that playlist, gentle jam playlist.
Is this Frank Ocean?
Yeah. Are we Frank fans?
Yeah.
I feel that, Zoe. Also crying at Frank Ocean.
I come back to this.
I love Frank.
Frank, who is releasing music under a different name, from what I heard.
Is that right?
What I heard, I'm looking it up right now, though.
Let us know. Go through. Thank you, Finn. We are going to go through and talk a little bit about sort of the methodology and philosophy around Skate Like a Girl instruction that continues to be interwoven, I guess you could say, with our Skate Like a Girl mission. So with that, I want to kind of switch gears and start discussing best practices, kind of things we want to think about, like non-negotiables when it comes to skate instruction. So, as usual, we're going to do a little chat storm to get us stewing. So in the chat, I would love to hear, what do y'all think are 3 of the biggest priorities at a Skate Like a Girl program? 3 of the biggest priorities at Skate Like a Girl programs. All right, so in the chat, start stewing, be brave, and when you've got them, throw them in there. Oh, snap. I see some folks have been to our in-person training or an Up to Us orientation. Look at them go. I love it. Perfect. So I'm seeing a lot of safety. Absolutely. Seeing some inclusivity. I'm seeing fun. I'm seeing social justice. I'm seeing consent. Look at us. Okay. Crushing it. Here are the 3 biggest priorities when it comes to Skate Like a Girl programs. It is safety, it is fun, and it is learning. So we're going to talk about those quickly because you probably already talked in depth at your IRL skate facilitation or are about to. So safety, when we talk about safety, that not only means physical safety, but that also means social emotional safety. We know that skaters show up looking a ton of different ways, and it's really important to allow and embrace and cultivate a space of self-determination. So making sure that people feel social emotionally safe in our spaces. The other part of that is us as instructors, we've got to help support our participants getting out of their own way. We know that a lot of skateboarding is very mental. So there's a lot of ways in which we get down on ourselves, we shame ourselves, we feel guilty that we're not as good as someone else in the space or whatever, maybe on a certain day. So it's really important that we are there to really create a safe space in all the layers that looks, as well as enforcing if there's like a helmet policy, right? Buckle in that helmet so it actually works. So safety, the main thing is it's not about being the gnarliest, and safety is always number one in our space. Next is fun. We're focusing on creating more and more inclusive communities, right? And with that, it's skateboarding. It's not that serious. It's about being silly, goofy, creative, making sure that people are smiling and having a good time, right? Skateboarding is not linear. So it's about just really allowing folks to move through their skateboard progression at their own pace. The last piece is if it happens and people are interested or filling up for it, learning something, progressing their skating, maybe even learning more of an interpersonal skill based on some of our community agreements or interacting in our community, coming as you are, meeting people where they're at, stepping up, stepping back. So ideally learning something. If participants are learning new things, but if they're not, just having fun is a great goal at our programs. All right, so those are our three main things, and in that order. Okay, so next, I want to jump into a chat storm, and I want to get us thinking about what comes to mind with a couple words. All right, so the first word, and we can keep this slide up, Finn. The first word I want you to think about and start typing in the chat what comes to mind, and not hit send just yet, is coach. When you think of a coach, what comes to mind? Okay, whatever is there. All right, don't hit send just yet. Type it in the chat. I'm gonna give you 30 seconds. Anything at all when you think of the word coach. All right, team, hit send. What comes to mind when we think of coach? Oh yeah, oh yeah. Friendly, welcoming, knowledgeable. Yes, prepared, encouraging, creative, encouraging, trusted mentor. Ooh, teacher and leader, facilitator, hype person. Okay, provides instruction and tips. Yes. Okay, someone that helps or teaches. Yes. Okay, teaching. I'm seeing a lot of teaching, creating a safe and enriching space for others through leadership. Oof, okay. Someone giving instruction. Yes. Okay, great. Coach. Someone who is there to offer encouragement and education. Someone who pushes you outside of your comfort zone in a safe way. Okay, y'all. All right. Okay, next word. Here's what I want you to think about. What comes to mind when you think of the word lecturer? Lecture. Start typing in the chat. Don't hit send. What comes to mind when you think of a lecturer? Lecturer. Say that 3 times fast. Okay, beautiful. Hit send. What comes to mind when you think of lecturer? All right, let's see. Lecturer, someone. Ooh, okay. Wait, I want to make sure I start off. Here we go. A professor, someone with a high education. Okay, lecturer, someone talking at you with the goal of education. Okay, love it. Okay, patience, someone's given floor space to teach or orate for a sustained amount of time. We are nailing it, y'all. Okay, great. So I'm seeing a lot of like talking, being the one like delivering the educational piece, well prepared, very educated on a subject, someone who has valuable experience and knowledge on a topic, qualified expert. Ooh, okay. Monotone speaking at you. Yes, Ellie, I've had plenty of those. Okay, great. Next word. Here's what I want you to type in the chat. Don't hit send just yet. What comes to mind when you think of teacher? Teacher. What comes to mind when you think of teacher? All right, hit send, y'all. What comes to mind when we think of teacher? Okay, someone who really cares about education. Yes, someone imparting information, someone who tailors that delivery to specific students' needs. Yes. Someone who cares about your educational well-being. Yep. Learning. I love it. Guidance fosters room for you to grow. Okay. Person who introduces you to new things and new thoughts. Love that. Mentor. A lot of patience and passion for a subject being taught. Yeah. Patience is a good one. Someone to guide and help you learn. Showing and helping. Practice things in proper way. I love it. Reliable educator. Okay, cool. Time's sake, we're going to do our last one. Here's what I want to know. What comes to mind when you think of facilitator? 30 seconds on the clock. What comes to mind when you think of facilitator? All right, beautiful team. Hit send. What do we think when the word facilitator comes to mind? Okay, let's see. Oh, wow, lots on that. Let's make a difference. Oh, wow. Okay. Wait, I'm trying to figure out where the start was. Overmatching setup, cleanup, first one there, last one to leave, the big boss. Oh, wait, maybe I ever read that. Hold on, I'm gonna go backwards. Letting you work on what you want to work on. Ooh, okay. Helping you with it. Okay. Someone who creates and engages an experience. Oh, I like that a lot too. Okay. Neutral-ish party to guide conversations and navigate conflict. I love that, Lucia. Sets the tone of the space. Hype man and lead. Someone that watches over or sets the standards. I like it. Helps others when needed or ask, but does not overpower the environment. I like that. Sounds like a reader of the room. Someone who guides a group through a set of information. Yep. Engaging. Creates the space of others to share ideas, learn from others. I love that. Creates the space for others. Someone who guides something to happen. Someone who observes and intervenes only as needed. Ooh, okay. Great. So now we've stewed. So it's important here. The point is that we want to consider ourselves as skate facilitators. We're supporting participants by guiding them through their own skate progression. And y'all really nailed that down. So some key things we really want to think about when it comes to being a skate facilitator, when we say skate coach, is facilitators allow us to create a positive learning environment to help participants be their own teacher. We're helping them navigate along the way. And we know that skateboarding is actually a really beautiful education model for them to really learn their process for learning something. Okay, so with that, also facilitation in skateboarding or being a facilitator of skateboarding means that skateboarding is creative. It's about fun. There's no linear way to learn. It's based on self-expression and art. So really having an ear for what do participants want to learn, showing them options for maybe things they didn't know about. So again, it's really about being able to hold the space, create the space, guide the space, which a lot of you touched on. And then the last thing to really think about when it comes to being like skate facilitators is it removes the expert piece. It's not about y'all's ability on a board and that empowering you to be a coach or an instructor. It's really about being people's biggest cheerleader, if you will, and also being able to help guide them with different progressions or guiding them through their own progress, right? So it's no need for screaming or having being a militant coach or like pushing somebody beyond their comfortability level. Okay, great. So we stewed on that. Again, it's really about taking the expert out. Next, I want to talk a little bit about our levels and how we kind of split into groups. So with that, you can see them here. So we know that level 1 is foundations. It's about getting comfortable pushing and writing. Level 2 means you've mastered pushing and writing, and now people are ready for ramps. Okay, level 3 means that we've mastered pushing and writing, and now we're comfortable on ramp basics, which means we're ready for maybe more advanced tricks or more advanced tricks on flat ground or ramps. Okay, so this is how Skate Like a Girl specifically based on who shows up to our programming, how we can keep them safe. The main thing around our levels is really safety. So with that, not only is safety number one, we know that's some of our highest priorities, but it's also about camaraderie, and levels also help us create tangible progressions, AKA goal setting, right? So our participants are able to come be in whatever level they're at, but then also have a measurable goal for their success on a skateboard based on what their goal is for the day, a goal that they generated. All right, cool. So we're going to dive a little deeper, and I want to talk a little bit about once we're in a lesson group and we split by lesson 1, 2, or 3, I want to start thinking about how do we actually teach or how do we facilitate a lesson? Like, what is the actual structure of a lesson group? Okay. And we're kind of breezing through this because you've either gone deeper in your in-person training or you're about to go deeper in your in-person training. Cool. All right. So we can hit the next slide, Finn. So the main structure, 3 parts with a lesson group, is we want to be listening. You want to have not only a coach's eye, but a coach's ear, listening for what of our participants are saying their goals are, right? From there, we also want to get the group going with a warm-up that everybody can do safely. Okay, so for instance, if I have a level 2 group and people want to work on going up the ramp for the first time, people want to work on doing a kick turn on the ramp, and another group wants to work on doing a rock to fakie, we're going to start them at the lowest level of being able to go up to fakie on the ramp. Okay, you're not going to take it straight to doing kick turns or advanced ramp trick without everybody else to follow. Okay, so from there, the last piece is once you've got everybody warmed up safely, then we want to think about how can we get this group based on the goals that they shared working towards their goal for that session. All right. I have a quick pop quiz that I want to put in the chat. It's actually a true or false. All right. So true or false, should a lesson group all be working on the same trick? And you don't have to wait to hit send, just true or false. Should a lesson group be working on the same trick? Beautiful. Okay. So the answer, it's a complex one. So ideally a group is working on something similar, not the same, but something similar. Okay. So we want to use our coach's eye to progress a skater's individual skill. Okay. What does that mean? If I have a lesson group of level 2s, a skater should share or has shared that they want to ride a ramp, work on a shove it, or a kick turn on a ramp, and begin something that everyone can do. So I just talked about that in a warm up. Once that happens, I may give a slight variation of the same trick on a ramp if it's level 2. Okay, so I know we're kind of speeding through this, but generally speaking, we should look for group cohesion based on their goals. Now, as you get into like level 3s, there might be some variation of tricks, but it doesn't mean we're letting people just skate. Okay, we're checking in with all of our group, making sure that there's still group cohesion. So, all right, we're going to move on to some of our non-negotiable community agreements. All right. So, let's see, put a finger on your nose if you have heard of community agreements before. Amazing. 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 Okay, cool. So once again, everyone should have a finger on your nose. We talked about them earlier today. Again, they're way cooler than rules. It's a chance to create a culture and a space in a shorter amount of time, and especially an intentional space for who's showing up to it. So we have, I was going to say 3, but we actually have 4 key non-negotiable community agreements in every space. You can think of it as the abbreviation CASey right here. So I'm going to breeze through them. First one's consent. We now have started to chew through what consent can look like at our programs, whether it's pads, high fives, asking if people are comfortable with having their photo or video taken, right? And also listening for that between participants as well, and looking for those moments to help support and call participants in to also practice those things, okay? Also spotting, making sure that we are asking if people want spotting and support before we actually provide it. A is amenities. So thinking about if you're new to a space, what do people need to know about the space? Where are the bathrooms? Is there water? Where is it? Are there pads? Is there first aid? All right. So anything about the space that people need to know to be able to be confidently in the space. Not last one. S is safety. We talked about that earlier with safety and fun and learning. Same idea. Also, another piece of safety you could talk about is if the skate space is suggested to be skated a certain way. Some skate spaces, there's a certain line of flow. So kind of maybe sharing that to set people up for success. Maybe here you talk about taking turns, but also talking about the social, emotional safety, physical safety, if pads are required, helmets are required. And the last non-negotiable is the why, yelling board. If any of y'all have ever been hit in the ankle with a skateboard, you know how important this one is. All right. So these 4 should always be community agreements in our spaces. And then I also want to share a cool pro tip with you all. Feel free to add any community agreements as you see needed for the space. In our spaces, we may have youth, we may have teens, we might have an all gender group, we might have a WT group, we might have 10 skaters, we may have 50 skaters. So different community agreements may be needed to keep our space safe, keep people having fun, and maybe learning something. So know that there are some non-negotiables and there's negotiables based on the space. All right. From there, before we kind of get into questions with our last couple minutes, just about anything that's come up tonight, I do want to share with you sort of one of the last and key and biggest pieces that you all as team members can bring to our spaces. And that's being culture keepers of true inclusivity and care, genuine care for our participants and each other. So again, I just want to reiterate, we could care less about what you all can do on a skateboard in terms of your skill level. We care more about your determination to make everyone that comes through our space have the experience of feeling seen, being heard, and knowing that they belong. All right, so remembering to gas it up, use the gas model, share name, pronouns, your role, get curious, get in people's worlds, right? I totally get that a lot of us can feel socially awkward. This is a great way to have that gas model in the back of your pocket to start kind of breaking through that. And we've got to be the generators in our space. We got to be the ones that are really going out of our way to be proactive, inviting people in and making sure that we're the ones generating the inclusivity. As Sarah Vane here likes to say, we're secret service agents of inclusivity. If you like 00 Shredder, we have jackets coming soon, merch, stay tuned. But that's kind of it around our methodology, philosophy, to help kind of prime us as we start thinking about instruction or being in our spaces and programming. So I want to pause. And I want to thank you all for generating yourselves tonight, especially this late, and taking the time to be pillars in our community to hold up those safe spaces. It really does take extraordinary humans to want to contribute in these ways. So thank you all for that. And what I want to do is I want to pause and kind of open it up to see if there's any questions. And then we always, in true Skate Like a Girl fashion, we'll do a little group photo, all right? If you're cool with it. And then we have some resources we want to share out so you can continue to be building your allyship and your understanding of what does it look like for you to play your part in inclusive spaces. So I'll pause there. And then Finn, if you see any questions that have come through the chat, I'm going to have you kind of come up and share. And then if anyone wants to raise their virtual hand and ask any questions around the things that we were talking about tonight, feel free to do so. And if anything comes up in the future too, we are around and available, y'all. So let's open it up if questions are there. Cool. And yeah, while Finn's kind of checking the chat to see if any questions came up and y'all are kind of stewing in the chat, Finn has also shared some key links. There's a team member resource page that literally has almost everything you need as a team member, from our Skate Like a Girl toolkit. We're now on version 2, which has been pretty cool. That's also free on our site for any teachers, community organizers, etc. And obviously y'all can have at the click of a button, and then our YouTube channel with our tutorials on there. There's also this really awesome Consent is Rad article around dismantling and officially stopping sexual assault and violence in the skate community specifically. So I highly recommend reading that article. And then there is another skate project that put together a skate park de-escalation model. So when there's conflict at a skate space, learning ways as bystanders, or even if you're on the clock with Skate Like a Girl, how to sort of de-escalate different conflicts that may arise. Finn, do we see any questions in the chat?
We do not.
Okay. All right. Well, here's the deal. We love to take a group photo to, you know, commemorate the moments and all y'all's awesomeness. Let's see. Oh, the de-escalation model link isn't opening for me. Amelia, thank you for that. What I'll do is we'll make a note and we'll add it. So this recording will be available in our trainings channel on Slack. If you're not on Slack, we will email it out to you. So you all have this recording. In that, Amelia, we'll also share a not broken link to that. So thank you for letting me know. Cool. All right. I would like to invite us to take a group photo if you're down. And I would love for us to embody, let's just say you just landed your first drop-in. You just rolled away from your first drop-in ever. What expression, what are you feeling? That's gonna be our pose for this. Are y'all down? Yeah, oh, Sean, I saw Sean going there already. Okay. Finn, are you gonna take this lovely photo of us?
You know, I certainly am going to. So think for like 4 more seconds and
Yeah.
then we're gonna go. So I'm preparing.
Yeah, I'm going.
Second, command, shift. All right. You just picture it. It's today. You just landed your first drop in. OMG. Okay. 1, 2, 3, go. Okay. Beautiful. Do a smiling one or should we just be quirky?
I really love the embody. I'm down to do whatever you want, Finn.
Let's do a smiling one. We can be cute. Okay.
You wanna
Everybody
be cute?
give me your
Okay, tap
cutest
in-
smiles of all time.
Tap
One.
into your inner Sears pose.
Yes. Or okay, it turns out we are actually just being quirky. We're not doing a normal one. We're
I don't
just
know how to smile normal, y'all.
yeah,
I'm
okay,
sorry
we're
for
doing
that.
that. Ashley Masters.
Okay.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. All right, swag. Love
That one
that.
felt right, I will say.
That felt right. Yeah, we're not like other girls. We don't take normal smiling pictures.
Oh my gosh. All right, we're gonna share those adorable photos out on Slack, heartstrings and wins, because I know y'all are dying to have that as a wallet size in your wallet, because who doesn't carry around the whole album in the wallet these days? And yeah, this recording will be up early next week. If you have any questions, you know where to find us 3 chapter directors. Feel free to tap in with your team members that have maybe been around and instructing a while. But again, a lot of this doesn't work unless we're in communication and like having conversation around it. So this is just the beginning of all the things we talked about. Thank you all for making it. I hope you have a fabulous rest of your, is it still Tuesday? Okay, great. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, y'all. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Thanks, y'all.